All right, I'm working on my daughter's Transit 350. Funny noise in the back. Sounds like might be the brakes. So we've got the wear on the rotor here. Obviously, it was the brakes, and we've got the pad is gone down to metal here. All of the pads should have been changed, but that's just the way life is sometimes. So this is replaced both rotors and brake pads. Just a couple of things I want to go over because I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube and none of them get into the details that I really needed to have gone into. These pistons, I've already pushed them all the way back, so I can't show you how I'm doing it. I will show you how I did do it. I got, you can most of the time you can rent tools from the auto parts houses, but none of them here, both AutoZone and O'Reilly's I typically use, had a tool that would go left and right. And I wish I could show you now. I'll tell you what, I'll show you on the other rotor that these rotors are specifically directional, with this one turning you can see the arrow there. So this one turns to the right and the one on the other side turns to the left. And all of the tools that I could get from either O'Reilly's or AutoZone were righty-tighties only, and that's not going to work. So what I did get was this tool. It cost a little bit more than I wanted to pay for it, but I'm trying to get it to size now with one hand, of course. You can see that these are mechanically joined together so that when I stick these in here and put it on the piston and turn the direction, in this case right, on the other side it was definitely left, then those two posts draw together and hold it pretty much in place. The problem is then when you push, because there's not a screw attached to this and it doesn't screw the piston in, you have to push. So when I pushed, it shoves that out, and you push hard enough, it'll come all the way off, and you don't have anything to push on. You got to put it back on again, because all this does is slide back and forth to make up for the wear on the pads. Okay, so what I had to do was find something that would prevent this from moving back and forth, and we just have to use what we have. And so coincidentally I found out that a landscape timber works really nice. I'm going to put this down for just a minute. We're going to pause. Okay, landscape timber works very nicely between the caliper housing here and this sway bar here. And now I can stick my tool in here and push like crazy, but then part of my body is in pain because I've got to push. You got to push pretty hard. It's not a wimpy thing. So then I got another tool here. Got to use what you can. I put my knee on the bottom of this thusly. I had my tool in between, and then I put my shoulder on top of the board thusly, and then reached in and grabbed the leaf spring and pulled this board in at the same time I was screwing it. So it worked. That's done. While I'm here on the left side, this is the side that got a bit on the overheated side and had the metal scoring and everything. And I got to tell you, again on the videos, it looked like, you know, you just grab the rotor and pull it off. My goodness, I had to whack the snot out of it with a hammer to get it off of here. I'm hoping that when it's time to put the new rotor on, I'm cleaning it with a wire brush to get it nice and clean, that it'll slide on without a lot of hassle. I can say that both axles came out just with a tug. I didn't have to grab the rotor and use it as a slide hammer to pull this out. Just grab it and give it a couple of jerks and the axle comes right out. And just like everybody on the internet says, you definitely want something under here to catch the high poi oil as it comes out, because that stuff won't come off your driveway very easily. So yeah, that little device, this little universal brake piston reset, it worked. It's about worn out. I'm thinking I'm probably going to take it back and get my money back for it, because it's right about to fail. I barely had enough strength in it to finish this side over here. Okay, I've got the brakes here that I purchased. They're not actually in the box right now. Just some notes. The tabbed end. I'll turn it around so you see the pad there. It's nice and new. That's good. And then the other one here, notice this one has a slot all the way through it, and this one does not. So this is the one that goes on the inside, and excuse me, this is the one that goes on the outside. So that would be something like this. Is how they end up going in there, like this. Okay, and while I'm thinking of it, torque is 81 for the bolts that hold the rotor on. So I'm going to move my camera just a little bit. By the way, the brake pads did come with hardware. There's a top and a bottom to each one, and I'll probably zoom in and pop one or two of those in. I'm going to move this over here. We're going to slide out the okay. So like I said, even from the first time I pulled it out, just a good tug. Shame on me. Just a tug pulls the axle out. And we'll gently place this right here. Okay, so I did not wire brush this. I may wish I had. I did the other side. It's already assembled. So this side of the rotor indents in, and this side of the rotor is out. So the in goes in and the out goes out. And we'll just line this up, slide it in, twist it over. Oh yeah, this one went so much easier. Okay. All right, so that's in place. Now we can reinstall the axle. I've got it marked. You never know if it matters or not. Some people say, oh yeah, it definitely matters. Some say probably not. But I've got a nice little dot here made with a silver Sharpie. Silver always shines up on metal for me nicely. And then we twist this and okay, it's in. These go torque to the pulley is 81 foot-pounds. I'm not going to do that now, but I'm just saying. Okay, got a little bit of grease on my hands. That one started. Okay. 6 o'clock and it's just dark out here. I'm not a fan of daylight. I am a fan of daylight savings. I wish they'd just leave it alone. And we get used to it whichever way it is. But I do like coming home and it being light instead of dark, so I guess I'm definitely a fan of the daylight savings. Forgive my editorial. Or not. Okay, all 5 are there. And it's pulling that rotor up. Probably can't tell, but it's centering it on that hub at the same time nicely. One, two, three, 4. There's one in there. Tight. 5. Okay. So now I take the caliper mount and make sure I put it on right. Okay, a retard there. So the disc brakes float. I don't really tighten all this up until I've got everything in and it's working well before the tires go on for sure. And I'll torque everything at that point. Okay, so that's on. Alright, so then the clips that I mentioned, see if I can even see those on here. Yeah, we got a good clip right here. So I'll just pop this one out thusly and then grab this one. The way I can tell this one goes here, it's got the slide on the outside. I guess the other way you can tell is it won't fit any other way. I guess. So it goes this way. There's a little notch right here that needs to be right up against this block. So we'll slide that in just like that and over thusly, and then this one comes out. Grab another one. Hopefully this one won't fit right away. That one doesn't fit because it's for the other side over here. This one, again, the block's here, the slide is here, so it fits. And I'm just rocking it with that tab where it can fit over the block there, rocking it in, I say. Okay, just like that. Okay, and since this is the side that does not have the notch in it, I don't like that dirt on my caliper. And this just fits right like that, and right like that. Get in there, kid. Okay, so one of them is in, and you don't get to watch for the next one. Alright, so both of the pads have been installed. If they do turn, by the way, this I'm getting ready to install the caliper now on the slide that goes back and forth. And this is a 17 if it tries to turn on you. Oh God, I apologize. I think it's a 19. I apologize. 3/4, 19, whatever you want to use there. Alright, so if I push the piston back in far enough, this will actually slide over both of those pads. It's a good thing it did. Okay. So there's a damper mechanism that this vehicle did not have that goes here. I don't know why it doesn't have it. Apparently it worked fine without it, so I'm not going to go out and try to find out where it goes or anything. Okay, kid, let's go. All right. So, for all intents and purposes, the brakes are installed, albeit everything's loose. And I'll fix that in just a little bit with all the proper torques. And it is spinning on me over here. You don't need to watch that, so we're done for now. All right, the caliper guides have been tightened top and bottom. The caliper mount itself has been tightened top and bottom. And I've got the torque wrench dialed in at 82. I'm going to go pattern on this just because I've done a lot of head bolts. I don't want to warp anything, so we're going to snug that. And then snug that. I don't have an extension. Yeah, I do. Use it. Okay. Be a little easier. Okay, we went here, here. Not to snap, but just to snug. Snug. And snug. And snug. This time we'll go to snap. One. Two. Three. 4, 5. You may have noted that the rotor's not turning. That's an indication that the park brake's working just fine. I started the engine and rocked the brake about 10 times to make sure we had the calipers all charged properly. Okay, we are torqued. Now, just for grins, we will release the park brake. And the rotors do turn as freely as you're going to get from a differential. Okay, so that's it. The job is done. Putting wheels on is not complicated. I hope something I said helped you.